Argo for my Great Films project because I've always had a liking towards Ben Affleck's works. After watching what is now one of my favorite movies, The Town, I just started getting familiarized with all the movies that Ben Affleck was associated with, and that led me to choose Argo as my project. Okay, so moving on to Argo. Okay, Argo takes place in 1979 in Tehran, and as you can see in the picture here, people are angered and burning flags. And the reason why they're doing that is because the US just gave asylum to a man who was responsible for killing thousands of their own people. The revolutionaries were beyond angry, and at last they breached the walls of the US embassy. The revolutionaries penetrated the walls of the embassy and took several American workers as hostage. Six American workers were able to escape, but the escapees were fortunate enough to receive refuge from the Canadian ambassador. At this point, the CIA ordered the escapees to be removed from danger and brought back to the United States. But this was no simple task. The people of Tehran were after six Americans, and Americans were very distinct. The CIA contacted this man, Tony Mendez. Tony Mendez was an exfiltration expert who worked with the CIA. Mendez came up with a silly idea in the eyes of other people to make a fake film. And with this fake film, he would have to go shoot in the exotic desert of Tehran. And on his way back, he'd bring the six Americans as his film crew. When Tony Mendez met up with the six escapees, none of them liked the plan originally, but they realized that they just must memorize their fake identities and hope that it worked because they had no other option. Okay, and I chose editing to do slides on editing because, in my eyes, editing was the key to the whole movie. The editing was used masterfully, especially in the closing scenes where Tony and the six escapees were putting Mission Argo into action. The movie had a lot of match cuts in the final 30 minutes. The movie would constantly go from Tony Mendez and the escapees to the guards, trying to come up with the real identities of the six Americans. The use of match cuts in this sequence creates a lot of suspense and really grabs the viewer's attention to the point where they can't take their eyes off the screen. That makes Argo that much more special. And of course, the acting in this movie was superb as well. The one I was impressed with the most was Ben Affleck, who played Tony Mendez, a highly intelligent CIA agent. Affleck was able to let the audience know how he felt about a situation just by a simple look. As you can see right here, Ben Affleck seems distraught, disturbed, sad about something. Obviously, he's not happy. Ben Affleck led the pack of great actors, but in my eyes, the supporting actors did a sensational job. In specific, the six escapees. I would name them all, but I don't think they did anything individually great. I think they did great together. By that I mean they made the situation believable just by the way they handled themselves. They all handled stress in different forms, just how real people would. Some escapees read, some smoked, some sat in the corner very still, and others were very anxious and couldn't stop walking. Overall, the actors and actresses really helped the film come to life. Alright, moving on to my theme. I know hundreds of themes can be extracted from the film Argo, but I chose mine because it constantly came up. Never doubt yourself, never doubt it until you try it. Time and time again, situations would come up in the film, and characters would constantly doubt themselves or doubt it. For example, when Tony Mendez brought up the idea of Argo, all the other CIA agents were highly doubtful that it would work. but Tony followed through with it anyway. After the approving of the CIA, Tony Mendez got in contact with his Hollywood friends, and they too doubted that the film would actually work. They didn't believe that a real film company would accept such a bogus movie, but they did. And my last example was like when Mendez explained the plan to the six escapees. They were highly doubtful that they would ever get past Tehran's security. Now, I can't say too much or else I'd ruin the film, but like I said before, this theme was brought up time and time again. Okay, moving on to my film's director, Ben Affleck. Yes, Ben Affleck also played the lead role of Tony Mendez. Um, just some basic information on Ben Affleck is he was born and raised in Berkeley, California, and he grew up in a family of actors. His brother Casey Affleck was also an actor and played a huge influence in Ben's life. At first, Ben struggled to get his name into the big time movies. Time and time again, he would get shot down for big roles, but he wasn't discouraged. Rather than quit, he and his good friend Matt Damon wrote their own script and directed it themselves. It was called Good Will Hunting. It was a huge success. This was the big break for Ben Affleck. His film was nominated for 9 Academy Awards and won 2 of them. Now directors are dying to have Ben in their film or have his screenplays. A truly inspirational story of hard work. And now for my review. I gave Argo 5 stars for a lot of reasons. Argo kept me entertained, even though there wasn't much action. There was a bunch of suspense, great editing, a great look to the film, great actors, and it's hard for me to believe that this is a true story. It's that unbelievable. Um, I like how Argo was able to make history, usually a subject which people don't like, into a Hollywood movie that's just fascinating. So that's why I gave Argo 5 stars. I've already recommended it to most of my friends, and I'd recommend it to a stranger that I'll meet tomorrow. I just think this film is a must watch.